Hey Bella, come here girl. Guess what we're doing today? Moved the coachman over out of the way, a little bit down. Got the Fiesta up here. We're gonna go ahead and get the hardware on the front of this, the what's referred to as the base plate. You have to take part of the front end apart. It's gonna be kind of a major operation. I really don't want, I just don't like tearing my little car apart, but it's gotta come apart. It's gotta come apart. And I'm gonna bolt that whole thing on there. We'll have it ready for towing. Also have to run the wiring for the brake lights and tail lights and stuff. So we're gonna get started here. Where's that big box at anyway? There it is, the Roadmaster tow bar bracket kit for a 2016 Ford Fiesta. Let's get this box open and see what's in it. Well, what all do we have here? There's wonder how much this thing weighs. How much extra weight is that gonna be on the front of the car? Well, it's not too terrible, I guess. Just seemed like it was. What else here? What are these things? What do those do? A couple of those. Ooh, nice bag of, nice big bag of hardware. Yeah, there's in this piece here. Got some pins in it. Alright, we got the tools out, and there's the hardware. Our good friend Russ is back, and he's going to read the instructions. And I'm just going to follow him. So if he gets them backwards or reads them out of order and I get screwed up over here, we're going to blame it all on Russ, okay?
Or if you're going down the road and it falls off.
No, we'll be okay. I'm going to properly torque each and every bolt. Everything's going to be good and tight. Well, while Russ studies directions, he's already watched a couple of YouTube videos on it too. But still, gonna go through the directions anyway, the step by step, just to be sure. I guess I can go ahead and get this stuff out of the way for now, because we got some work to do tearing this apart. I guess number one is I took the positive, disconnected the battery, just a precaution, and jacking it up. Got the good old air jack. Got the jack stands under both sides. Get the front wheels off of it. We need access in places that we need to take the wheels off for. Russ is telling me that one of the videos he watched, they cut this entire section out, which is not necessary. This whole part of the grill, this lower part, there's the upper grill. Okay, here's this lower. There's part of the hitch got to stick out through here, and then the other one over here. Well, I guess on one of Etrailer's videos, they just cut this entire piece out, and then the directions are showing that you just cut a section out to allow that and retain the as much of the grill as you can, and which I want to do. It's funny that their video, you gotta watch these videos you watch on YouTube, including mine. I might steer you wrong once in a while, but yeah, I'm not gonna just cut that whole thing out. Wheels off, check. Next step is remove these four fasteners. All right, those are out, and the front of this is getting loose. My car is gonna fall apart. And then there's one of these on each side. I've already loosened it. I think that's part of the headlight assembly. One there and one there. Those are out. And then moving up from that headlight, the whole way up the other end of the headlight assembly, there's two more, one on each side here. It's going to come out. Obviously, there's something behind my headlights that is part of all this. All right, with those out. Seems all loose. It's got to be some trick. I think the front comes out first and something like that. And this one here is already okay. Let me get these out of here. Okay, wait, hold everything. That doesn't come out yet. Don't force it. All right, these have to. It's kind of trapped behind, I think this has to come off. I think the next step is there's two, there's one and there's one. These two got to come out. Let's see that? There it is. And this one down here. All right, we're down on the ground now. Down underneath the car, there is 7 millimeter. Now Russ is telling me 5.
5 7mm.
Okay, there's 5 of them along the bottom here. Hopefully we've come across the most difficult part of the job. Once we get it out of the way, because this is not going to be easy. I went ahead and took, there was 2 other of these clips here. I undid that one, another one up here. It didn't do me a whole lot of good. It does make this easier to pull back and get access in here, but the trouble is, hang on, it's just a plastic inner fender. The trouble is, what I'm trying to get to is way up in here. That's probably gonna be impossible to see, maybe. No, you can probably see it. There are 3 more 7 millimeter screws there, and up there that have to come out. And of course, I can't hardly use my rechargeable drill. I gotta get there with a little ratchet and try to get my hand up in there and get those 3 out. So that's gonna take a few minutes to do that. 2 things going on here. First thing is the directions were wrong. They say it's a 7 millimeter hex up there. So a socket or a wrench. Turns out it's an 8 millimeter. The other thing is you have to do it by feel, because you can't have your hands in there working and see what you're doing at the same time. All right, let's see if this has done anything. Okay. Let me go do the other side. All right, did the exact same thing on this side too. I did take out that extra, those little push button clips that hold the center fender. Just made it easier. There was one there and one up here. So I was able to pull this back further. Just a little bit easier to get your hand in that little ratchet up in there and get these 3 bolts out that they connect the fender to this. Whoa, I better.
No, don't.
I better. Don't what, Russ?
Don't slide it off that way.
Don't do that just yet.
No, you got to come up to the front.
All right. Yeah, I want to grab it by the front and center to make sure it just doesn't fall and damage the paint. There you can see it's come up. It's come up some and down in here. I guess it is pre-wired for fog lights. I have to unclip these wires from each side, and then this should all come off out of the way. It's like I feel bad. Like, I'm sorry, car. I'm sorry I'm doing this to you. Oh boy, that's not pretty. I guess there's where the horns are, and the real bumper. Wow, look how big this windshield washer reservoir is. Look at this. Wow, I've never put any in it since I bought the car. Used it a few times, but at this rate, maybe I should check it next year. All right, Russ says, okay, that was page 1 of our instructions. How many pages is there, Russ?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 pages. All right, almost got to working and forgot about taking some steps, recording some steps. There's these next thing are these like air dams that help draw air into the radiator. There's one on that side, and there was one on this side. So those have to come out. There was just those little plastic type pins that was here, and one up here in this corner. So now with those both removed, now there's these airbag sensors. So don't have to disconnect them. I just have to unbolt it. Guess we're gonna set those to let those hang down. I believe there's that one and that one. I think what's gonna happen here, it's not just the airbag sensor, but the wire goes back, and a little clip back here, you have to get that whole thing out of the way, back to here, and then because this whole bumper, and this is part of it, I think this whole bumper's got to come off. So, yeah, unbolt the airbag sensor, a little clip that holds the wire. Let me get the wires out of the way. All right, and then the other thing too here is this temperature sensor thing. Tells you what the outside temperature is. So, let me get this out of the way too. This is so fun. Next step is unplug the horns. This is main thing. Oh, there, push pit, little push thingy right here. Push, give it a wiggle. Okay. Wow. This is probably, I'm guessing. I'm not gonna get ahead here. I'm gonna follow Russ's instructions. I guess it's safe to go ahead and remove the headlights. They sit in this little. It's part of the headlight assembly. Okay, down here. And part of it sits in that little white saddle. So, I think they just slide. Looks like they just slide out, yeah. So we'll just slide it outwards and up and out. I didn't do that quite right. Actually pulls up and out. For some reason it came over so far and stopped, so I didn't want to force it out, so I forced it out. And it went. And then this back corner, it's kind of trapped in this. You have to lift it up a little bit, and then it slides out. And then there was the unplugging and unplugging it. So we'll put these aside for now. Maybe put them in the back of the car where they're safe. All right, is it just straight up? Yep, a little pop. Lift up in the back, up and out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that works better. Unplug it. Okay. This is really, really involved, more than I imagined. But, you know, we're just moving ahead step by step. This wiring harness, you know, this bumper, I guess, has to come off completely. So, all this gray metal was all part of it, you know. So, this wiring harness has to, gotta release that clip. And then it comes up and over here, gotta release this clip. And so this wiring harness can be put out of the way. We can get the bumper off. So back over here on the driver's side of the car, we still have to deal with getting this wire off as well. Say from these bolts, this forward, that's part of the bumper that's got to come off. So these have to come off, and these are those tricky little, like, one-use clips. You're barely if you can get them to hold a second time. They don't have to do a whole lot. We're gonna get those off of there, and that might be it. Just those. I guess that's why they make zip ties. It's one of the reasons. Neither one of those was. They both popped off. Get them out of these holes. We'll just have to kind of zip tie them back when we put this all back together. And you see some rust in my car. It's only 2016. This is very typical here in the Northeast in Pennsylvania. You get salt spray, you know, traveling down the highway. The car ahead of you is kicking up salt spray, and it gets in and around all kinds of nooks and crannies. While this is apart, I will probably treat this with just a spray on rust inhibitor. It'll just kind of absorb and convert that, and it'll slow that process down a little bit. When we finish getting this apart and those kind of areas, I'll address them. The next step is 3 10mm hex bolts. One in the center, holding this thing on, and one more on the other side. Those 3. The next step is to put a floor jack or something underneath the radiator support. This is so much more involved than I thought. I changed my mind. No. I don't know if I'll ever get my card ball back together. On this side, which is kind of dark, this side might show up better. There's a screw or one of those clips there, and one just hanging right down here. So those 2 on that side, and I think this thing here comes off. This is a very challenging you know, video or instructions, I think, for anybody to make. So any video, you know, if it's lacking, I mean, I understand why. Those 2 screws, there's just a lot of pieces of this puzzle. So anyway, yeah, those 2 screws. I thought this whole thing was going to come off, and it probably will.
Nope.
Nope, I think no. Actually, this piece will stay. But so that comes out of there, and we'll do the same to this one. And the second one. Now finally, this is almost looking like it's ready to come off. I was able to, where is it? Oh, with those 2 pieces on each side out of there now. Now you can get the airbag sensors back and out of the way. Those are tucked up out. Is this, okay, and this is disconnected. Okay, this looks like, what else? That's disconnected. What else? Okay, yeah, with this one out, here's the other airbag sensor. It can come out. I think we are finally getting really close here. I gotta double check with Russ, see where we're at on the instructions. We gotta be close. Russ, we have to be close because there's not much left of my car at this point. Tell me we're like on page 5 now, or we're getting towards the end.
We're on page 3, but it's gonna start moving.
These instructions are a little bit lacking with clarity where those bolts are, so I'll show you that real quick, what they mean. What's figure P? There's 2, you know, the bumpers mounted to the car with those 2 and those 2. Okay, so we've got 4 on each side. But what the bumper is also holding, and the reason for the floor jack to support this is there's bolts. There's one here. Okay, that this whole radiator type assembly and latching, all this stuff goes to. That bolt and that bolt. See the gray part? And always remember the gray part's up. Anything gray is part of the bumper, so that will, yeah, those 4 bolts. And that one, and then this bumper should come off. Now, got on each side, same thing, just to confirm. Okay, there's it holds the bumper to the rest of the car, and that's bolted to the radiator assembly there and there. Wow, finally, it should be it, really. We're going to deviate away from the instructions simply because we've removed so many clips and so many things, and this thing has been kind of in the way for a couple of times. For all that holds this on here, there's a clip there and a clip there on each side. That's just so easy to remove, but instead of them you doing that, they want you in, being able to access that and just put a socket and a ratchet on there and doing it easy. You come in here with a wrench and be struggling around. You know what? We've already had to remove so much stuff, and these are so easy to get to. Why? No, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go take that off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, come on, off you come. Oh, why is it?
That's
I
all
don't
right.
know. That's okay. That gives me
That
access.
works.
Yeah, there's 2 weird. They kind of go in and then lock. It's kind of like hinged in. I'm not gonna force it. I got access now. I'll just leave that there. Well, as part of the instructions, let's turn the bumper upside down. Still keeping the horn side, that's the passenger side. And that side, it's just flip it over. Finally getting this piece. to see how that is to go on there and get mounted. I'm gonna study it for a while and take a slight break. We'll be right back. I went ahead and set it up there the only way it made sense. And the holes sort of line up over here a little bit. Might have to trim a little bit somewhere. This side looks better. There's no hole over here. I don't know. We might have to drill a hole for that. I think some drilling is required. Might have to get a mallet out. Little pry bar. These holes don't line up as well, but I think that just might need to tap back a little bit with a mallet or something. So work on this a little bit. The directions say to use red Loctite on the bolts. Do not use red Loctite on the bolts yet. Okay, there's going to be some trials, some fitting, and then you have to loosen some things up and move things around and realign, and you know there's some of that messing around going on. Well, if you red Loctite the bolts right off the bat, and you're kind of screwed there to be able to go back and loosen them up when you need to move things around. It's not until you get it all together, get it dry fitted, so to speak. Make sure everything's in about the front bumper, all their bolts, all their hardware. It's all that's all in place. Now that's before you putting all the body panels, you know, the headlights back in and everything. That's after just getting their main hardware, their main towing hardware on there. Make sure it's all fit properly, all the bolts are in it, and then I'm gonna take one out at a time, Loctite it, put it back in, and torque it to the proper torque specs. Go to the next one, take it out, Loctite it, torque it to the proper torque specs, and so on. So wait until you're sure everything lines up and that everything's right before you go Loctiting anything, okay? Now I fully understand why the bumper had to come completely off. There's going to be some handiwork here that we might skip ahead. I'm going to give you a general idea how this goes. Not all the holes, I think we already showed that. Some line up a little better than others. They have these pieces that's actually going to kind of reinforce and marry the bumper to the car better in a stronger way. And if you're towing, you don't somehow rip the bumper off. It's going to stay put much better with these things. But some holes need drilled to begin with. Some need a little bit of handiwork to line them up better. That's actually not even quite big enough for the bolt to go through. It needs enlarged a little bit. Some holes need drilled, but so we're gonna, you know, I got my die grinder out, some drills. I'm gonna skip past that part. You get it. You know, that main piece needs bolted on the bottom of the bumper. Like I say, the bumper is upside down. It'll flop over and go back on the car. But what these do is, hang on, let me change hands. This is pretty involved. This will go inside this bumper and line up, okay, with this and that side hole. So once I drill it, so that leaves this hanging out. So when you turn it around, when you flip the bumper back over, come on out of there. So when you flip the bumper back over to the car, it goes and it lines up with that hole. Oops, hang on. Let me get another grip on that. So this goes in and lines up with that hole, and as you can see, that doesn't quite line up either. That hole will need adjusted a little bit so the bolt will even go in it. And I don't know about the bottom hole. Hopefully it already exists. Okay, it's back there a little bit. It does. It's right back here. So a little bit of tweaking. So I think that's all we're going to show for now. Obviously I got some more work getting these holes and getting us all together. We'll jump ahead and we'll be back again. This actually didn't go as bad. Actually, I didn't think it would go bad. Just takes some doing. The right tools to open them holes up wasn't a problem. That's now installed, so when we flip it over, bolt it up to the car. It went okay. And me and Russ were just talking. This video should be called, and I might have already done it. You know, is it a do-it-yourself project, or is it hire a professional to do it project? I would still do it myself. I imagine a shop in charge. There's a lot of labor involved here. I imagine it'd be quite a bill to have a car, you know, this installed on a car. You're paying a going shop rate. Yeah, it'd be quite a bill. So I'd still do it. Save the money. Well, this was unexpected. Got these all, you know, the bolts. This all flip back over, obviously. The bolts are all tight in this. And this is, you know, lined up like, okay, it's just slide in. But there is this big hump, okay, in here. So it has to go in past that and then back out to here. So you have to loosen these bolts back up, you know, get it in and tighten it, and then retighten them. But it's worse than that. It's so, this is about 3/4 of an inch. This surface needs to go way in here and then plus that hump. That's like over an inch. These, okay, there's 3 on each side. I'm probably gonna have to take 2 and 2 out and leave the third one loose, because there's got to be a lot of play to get that in there and get them lined back up and tightened back up, I guess. Yeah, not like you just throw them on there and slide it in. All right, loosen them up. We got play now. Let's see if that's gonna be enough. All right. At this point in the video, it is, you know, you get the idea. You got to customize and do a little handiwork of making all the holes line up. A few do. Seems like most don't. So, anyway, there's that. We'll call it fine craftsmanship. I threw these on just because. Those are on, and then the plug. This sticks out through the grill, and that's where the plug things in from the RV go. But I'm gonna get them back out of the way for now. And the rest of the videos really kind of do things in reverse order. I don't think there's any, you know, if you're taking this job on yourself, you probably have a pretty good feel of how to make it go back. You know, the radiator support's next. Plug in the airbag sensors, the horn, you know, some of the plastics and stuff. Those plastic things that went in there. I don't know if you can put the video in reverse and play it backwards. Hey, it's not a Beatles album. Alright, I'll check back in if anything of interest comes along. It's starting to look like a car again. The only thing different we had to do, or trimming, was, and it does say it in the instructions, is there's this inner dam, air dam that kind of shoots up here. There's lower ones too. Those get emitted because of these. The lower ones you don't use. The upper ones, just the very bottom of them, comes down and hits the top of this new hardware. So these, maybe you can see this one better. These pieces that went down in, you just trim a little off the bottom, then it goes in, the holes line up, you just clip it in and you're done. That was really the only modification we had to do. But yeah, the radiator support's all hooked up. The wires all back where they go and plugged into things. The headlights are back in it. Everything was pretty straightforward going back together to this point. Now we're at, I got to get the grill up here. A little tricky part here, because we have to cut out part of that lower grill that we talked about at the beginning of the video. So I got to get that over here. They do give some dimensions in the instructions, so I might look at those, or it might be easier just to get it over here. And I might get over here and just mark it here and here and here, you know, with a Sharpie. We'll see. Now it's really starting to look like a car again. Got this all up here and eyed it up, put up as best as we could, and kind of seeing what they had in the instructions, and versus what we had in real life, and thought that just made it actually, and got pretty close. I'm glad it wasn't any closer. Just did as neat a job as I could. Cut it from with my jigsaw from the back side, It's too big a distance to go from here, that deep from up here. So I marked it up here, set it back down, cut it from the back side, put it back up, and there we have it. That's not a bad look. When it's out of use, yeah, I just kind of stuck with these sticking out. But that's not bad. There's other pieces to tow with. They go in and lock when you need to tow the car, and then when you're not towing, you pull a pin, you start it and pull them out, and put them in the back of the car or the RV somewhere. But those are not real evident, are they? So it is just sitting on here loose. I got to put the pins and screws and bolts in it. I got to pull this up, put the bolts back in there, bolts back in the other side. We'll get this all drawn up and get this buttoned up and see about getting some wheels and stuff back on it. No, we might have some wiring to do. That might be a different video though. Yeah. We're almost there. I had to take, there's no better time while it was up and everything. It was due for an oil change, so we threw an oil change in it real quick. I'm running this plug wire right now. That's where the RV is going to plug into the car, and so I fished the wire back through and under it and getting that run. And I'm gonna hook all this up later, but while it's up again, took care of that. We're gonna get it up here in the back, gonna wire it into the lights and stuff maybe tomorrow, but I'm just finishing that up, and then we're gonna get the thing back down on the ground and torque the front wheels and close the hood here in a minute. You should be about done here. What?
I said I thought you could pull it up behind your RV so that way you could hook it up.
Not just yet. Maybe tomorrow. I think tomorrow. We're all back together and running again. Look at all the more of that shows. It's just a real clean installation. A little bit of hardware there, but hardly noticeable. We're all back together again, down on the ground. And there's the tow bar. It wouldn't take much. So we're getting really close. I'm getting pretty excited. It is time to get the heck out of here soon. Yes. Russ agrees. Yes, it is getting done. It is cool. I don't know if it made it to 50 degrees today. It just seems like the leaves are changing by the day, getting cooler by the day.